good afternoon and welcome to Alexandra Palace. You hardly need me to remind you that Shushanova and Silovash is a pretty hard act to follow, but things move on after the Olympics, and already we're looking ahead to the European and the World Championships next year, when, who knows, a different set of names might be on our lips, and they don't have to be Russian, do they? Well, 10 nations, from the Italians to the Chinese to the Americans, are competing in the last major tournament of the year, the Kraft International. Star billing goes to Oksana Emelianchik from the Soviet Union, deprived of her chance in Seoul by an untimely injury, but dazzling enough to have shared the world title with Shushanova 3 years ago. Lisa Grayson's Britain's #2. She missed the title by 0.05 of a point. And carrying British hopes in the men's section is James May from Bristol, a former junior champion who now holds the national vault title. And illuminating the proceedings with her wit and wisdom and charm and charisma is Suzanne Dando. Glad to have you. You weren't a bad mover yourself on your day, were you?
That's equally kind, thank you.
What do you think of the performances you've seen so far?
Oh, it's a very, very high standard. I mean, Monica was saying earlier that she feels it's like a little mini Olympics. It really is a good standard. It's nice to see that we're attracting that amount of talent from all over the world into England.
And as we'll see in a moment, the Brits aren't doing too badly. But what we'll do first is have a look at the highlights of the competition so far, particularly a Russian and a Chinese gentleman who astounded us. Here he is. Gennady Zadorozhny from the USSR on the floor.
He's John Atkinson was saying earlier, this boy is very talented. He's very strong. He's going to be a new Russian champion, I think, and he's going to have a very good floor routine. And here we go with the Chinese. He actually equalled...
Fang Min.
Fang Min. I mean, that was wonderful names, but he equalled the Russian score. They both got 9-7. Very good floor routine. Here we have our own girl, Lisa Grayson. She's had a bit of a disappointing year. She just missed the Olympics, just missed the British title, but she pulled out a very good vault here. 9.55 she scored for that, so she should be happy with that. It's a good start to an international competition.
In contrast, Oksana Emelianchik from Russia didn't start very well, but improved here.
She did. She is strong on bar. She's usually a very consistent gymnast. She has a lot of originality in her bar routine. As you said, she unfortunately had a bad vault, which is unusual for her, but she pulled it back with a very good bar routine, and that's obviously put her in the best position. Landed well, she should be pleased. 9.6
for that, but 9.8 for this one from Iveta Polakova from Czechoslovakia.
Yeah, I think we were all quite surprised. I mean, with the 9.6 that Emelianchik got, this girl really did do a fabulous routine. Everything was executed perfectly, and that's what the judges were looking for. Every handstand was met, and very tight and tension in the routine, and she landed this perfectly, and she looks very happy.
Isn't it nice to see her smiling? And well, she might, Suzanne, because at the halfway stage there she is in the lead, with Lisa Grayson, look, only 0.4 behind.
That is very encouraging, and very encouraging for Lisa too, to be up there after, you know, the halfway stage, to be in such a good position.
Let's not forget Lorna Mannering in her first big international there, in 5th place. Here we go with the men now, with Gennady Zadorozhny in the lead, and Fang Min, the two gentlemen we've seen. But look who's third.
That's, again, it's so encouraging to see all our British gymnasts in the top 5. As you can see, David and James are there. I mean, they're very close together as well. But I agree with John Atkinson that David Cox is going to be a very outstanding future gymnast.
All right, Suzanne, thank you very much. Well, here we go live then with the leader, Iveta Polakova. And let's join our commentators, John Taylor and Monica Phelps. Over to you.
Iveta Polakova from Czechoslovakia, dominating this competition so far. 17th in the Olympic Games. Really world-class there. 9.7, followed by 9.8 on asymmetric bars, and going very steadily and with a lot of virtuosity here on the beam so far, Monica.
Yes, a very dedicated gymnast. She's been here from warm-up, and she looked a winner all the way with her attitude. Concentrating on every detail, beam particularly needing concentration, but there it lapsed. She should have had 2 moves linked together, and she obviously failed the second one. But it looks like that she's kept her composure coming up to the last move, the dismount. Cartwheel, not an Arab spring into a double back. Clean routine, but missing a big element in the middle. Nevertheless, superb gymnastics.
That really her first mistake in the competition. A reassuring hug from the coach. He says, we can overcome that, I think. Kanemoto Makoto from Japan. Equal fifth at the moment. There are his previous scores. The British boys will be watching this performance very closely indeed, because at the moment they're ahead of Kanemoto Makoto and Ruggero Rosato from Italy. David Cox and James May having a great battle for the bronze medal position at the moment.
So good to see our young gymnasts doing so well in a strong international field. And beating gymnasts of this caliber. Japanese, a much improved nation, disappointing dismount from that double back there.
Makoto, one of the new generation. The Japanese made a real comeback at the Olympics. He just failed to make the team, but a youngster who I'm sure we'll see in the World Championships team next year. Csaba Hegyes from Hungary. He's half a round behind the first group, still to vault his fourth piece of apparatus. Very tall he's grown. Former junior European champion on high bar.
Clean Sukahara straight. Men only having one vault, unlike the women who have two opportunities.
Next piece of apparatus will be and score there
and Lisa Grayson. 9.55 on the vault and the asymmetric bars. In the second position at the moment. Only Iveta Polakova from Czechoslovakia in front of her. But the beam, the real tester for her.
Polakova scored 9.65 on beam. Still maintaining the lead, but it all depends on what Lisa can produce.
Third and fourth, very close behind her. Lisa Grayson's total 19.1. Robin Richter from the United States, 19 dead. And Gergana Pieva, oh, and she's fallen. Just another 0.05 behind Pieva from Bulgaria. So that, a vital mistake, automatically knocks her back 0.5. She's now being marked out of 9.5.
Lisa, a very steady performer, generally very confident, but the pressure really is on. Saw her drawing deep breaths before her difficult element, obviously a little bit tight and nervous. Remaining composed for the rest of the routine. This is very important. They put the mistake behind them and continue as if nothing's happened. Gain a flick. Steadily working her way to the end of the beam, preparing for the dismount. An Arab spring, double back somersault generally. Important to land it well. Just got to the end of the beam, but a good landing there from Lisa Grayson.
Chance to see where it all went wrong. The two back flicks, then the straight back somersault, and just offline and couldn't hold it. Ruggero Rosato from Italy. Equal fifth at halfway. He started badly, falling on the floor to score only 8.9, and since then he's put in some very good performances. Nearly lost that, and certainly lost the tension in his legs. Got through the move, but it was very scruffy. There onto the one bar, coming off sideways, double somersault, landed that well.
Men, of course, have 6 disciplines, a very taxing sport. Obviously jammed his finger there on that donkey kick from the far of the parallel bars into the dismount.
Fang Min there from the People's Republic of China. The Chinese going through a real reorganization of their national team. The great Li Ning and Lo Yun both retired after the Olympics. In fact, at the moment, they're doing exhibitions throughout China. And here's one of the men that they're looking to in the future. Real height, superb attack on that vault.
That was a truly magnificent vault. It was a handspring 1.5 somersault with a Barani out. But the kick into the half twist was almost vertical.
2 more rounds to go before the 19th.
Well, the end of round 5 then, and a break for the gymnasts as they move to their next piece of apparatus. We'll take a break as well, but we'll be back shortly.
And a warm welcome back to Alexandra Palace, and there is the situation in the women's competition there, with unfortunately Lisa Grayson having dropped to 6th place after falling off the beam, but still hope that she might just get in there with the medal, because it's fairly tight. Let's have a look at the men. And after the vault we have the Fang Min from China has now leapfrogged over Zadorozhny into 1st place. James May has also leapfrogged over David Cox into the bronze medal position at the moment. But those two very close indeed, and it's still fairly open there too, I would suggest. Right, well, that's the situation so far. This Kraft International is still underway now. Round 6 has just begun, and we're going to see James May, our best British hope, about to perform as we hand over to John Taylor and Monica Phelps again.
James May there, just making sure that the width of the parallel bars is absolutely right. Crucial for him. Bronze medalist in the British Championships, but he was behind David Cox, who finished 4th in those championships until the last round of the competition. Overtook him on the vault, his speciality. David Cox scored 9.25, his lowest score. James May 9.45, and he now leads David Cox by just 0.1 of a point. Fang Min, as we saw there on the table, took the lead at the end of that round with that magnificent vault. He scored 9.65, and he's now overtaken Gennady Zadorozhny from the Soviet Union. Very tight for 1 and 2 as well, 38.15 against 38.1. But now everything on James May.
And unfortunately, James will be nervous. I know that he feels that parallel bars is his weakest piece, so he really has to put everything into it. He said he's been training very well, getting through lots of routines.
Monica, he had a very difficult 1988, didn't he? Had a lot of injuries. He'll be glad to see the back of it.
Yes, bad ankle injury which kept him out of competition, but despite his lack of belief in himself, he's just produced a good routine and even a smile.
Should be good enough to keep him in the bronze position. Gergana Pieva from Bulgaria, 9.4, 9.55, 9.5.
In equal 3rd place, coming into the final rotation. final tumble, very important for Pieva, hoping to get into the medals. She was in this competition last year, but wasn't in the top 3 in the all-round event, and eager to get there this year. This could be good enough.
And she's improved a great deal since then, as have all the Bulgarians. They had a tremendous Olympics, climbing as a team to 5th place. She was the reserve in that team.
Spectacular high exercise. And our first competitor from the USSR, number 12,
Gennady Zadorozhny from the USSR, the All-Republics champion, had an injury during 1988. Otherwise, he might well have made the all-conquering Russian team in the Olympics. He's certainly a tremendous gymnast. The first time we've seen him in Britain. And he's just been overtaken by Fang Min of China. He's just 0.05 off the lead, so a really good high bar could still win him the gold.
First high release and catch from one hand, recatching onto really smashing stuff. Nice high catch, Ev, and a repeat performance of the same move. Very well linked.
Building up to the dismount. I think we could be looking at a triple. 1, 2, 3. There it is. Just a tiny bit short, but he landed it safely. A spectacular finish.
He's obviously recovered from the terrible back injury which kept him out for 6 months because the stress on one-arm giants. There's the Ginger to recatch.
Well, he's now got to wait about 25 minutes before he knows whether that's good enough, because he's in a different half of the draw to Fang Min. He's going to have a long wait. That's his last piece of apparatus. This Mark Warburton from the USA. And on parallel bars, James May scored 9.2.
Warburton not having a very good run of scores. He started off with 9.05, went on to get a 9.15 and a 9.2, but then dropped down on vault with only 8.65. The story of the Americans' life when they dropped right down into 12th place in the Olympics in Seoul.
Chen Yao, just 15 years old, from China, third equal after the first 3 pieces of apparatus. Pieva scored 9.7 for her floor. Third equal there, Chen Yao, 9.4, 9.45, 9.65. Beautiful shape for a gymnast.
Chen Yao very fortunate to know exactly what she's got to beat, because she was tying equal third with Pieva before that piece. She must get in excess of 9.7 to get the bronze. Interpretation, the music much more of a background than she is working to it. Well, for my money, Pieva's was the better routine all round. Chen Yao, good gymnastics, but not very well matched to the music.
Kanemoto Makoto from Japan now. He's climbed into joint third place with David Cox and James May. The fifth round incomplete, but that's what it looks as if it'll even out at. Zadorozhny 9.7 for that magnificent high bar. That could have won him the Kraft International. But he'll have to wait a long time before we see what Fang Min can do and perhaps overtake him. But this man in contention for a medal as well.
Makoto, a very sleek performer, as were all the Japanese team in the Seoul Olympics. New-shaped, elegant men. That seems to be in vogue at the moment. Really elegant gymnastics. Nice full twisting, double back straight somersault. Pinged a little bit off the bar. But a clean routine and could be good enough for third place.
Number 16 on parallel bars, Mark Robert, 9.40. Now from Hungary, on parallel bars, number 17.
Csaba Hegyes from Hungary. I'm afraid his pommel horse let him down very badly indeed, as you can see there, 8.5 only, and that's put him well down. There's no hope of a medal. But he's no mean gymnast. He was the junior European champion on high bar, and we've still got that to come, so something to look forward to there.
Nice dismount there from the edge of the parallel bars. Double somersault from a long swing.
Robin Richter from the USA up in second place after 3 pieces of apparatus. So going for the silver. What a good sequence. 9.5, 9.5, 9.75 for her.
Yes, a very unassuming girl. Came 14th in the trials for the Seoul Olympics. Obviously didn't make the team, but really keen to get into the World Championships team next year in Stuttgart. Second double back, but both badly landed. She'll be penalised for the run backwards out of the elements.
Twist with the punch front somersault out of it to finish with there. But for my mind, those early mistakes leave that competition for the silver medal wide open.
Yes, Robin, very powerful on the tumbles, but not so hot on the dance. So the mark could be disappointing for her.
Just a couple of scores while we're waiting for the next piece. Kanemoto Makoto, 9.3 for his high bar. And Csaba Hegyes, 9.6 for that lovely parallel bars. But there, David Cox from Great Britain. He's had a tremendous competition. 9.25 on vault, his lowest score, and that's really good, because I was with this young man just a year and a half ago in Vladimir in the USSR, and he's come on such a bomb since then. It's almost incredible to believe that he's the same gymnast. He's got a maturity and a competitive spirit that really wasn't evident when we were seeing him there in training. But he was telling me he has done 288 routines in the last 5 weeks in readiness for this competition. And he was saying, it's got to go right. If it doesn't, I shall be very, very disappointed, because I've worked as hard as I possibly can for it. And the work's paid off so far.
Extremely stylish worker. Trains at Liverpool School of Gymnastics. Clean so far. Now building up for the dismount. Double back straight. Perfectly landed. And when I asked him what his secret for success was, he said he trained very hard and I eat loads.
Here, that dismount again. And you can see the difficulty he's added. Double straight back there, lay out back somersaults, the most difficult of the lot. He lands it beautifully. Marian Penev from Bulgaria. Fang Min, 9.55, by the way, for his parallel bars.
Bulgaria's Marian Penev. He was a reserve in Seoul, 22-year-old, trains in Sofia. In 7th place before he went to the P-bars. Had a disappointing start on the floor, but some good scores on apparatus in the mid-9s. Flying back, good tension held there. The second one. Bulgarians, a much improved nation, came 4th in Seoul after a magnificent performance. And a very clean routine there from Marian Penev. Good style, good amplitude, excellent height, and a solid landing on the dismount.
Lorna Mannering from Great Britain. She's nursing an ankle injury. She only took 1 vault, got a 9.4 in the bag and said, I'm not going to risk injury. She's been going very steadily. Had a fall on beam. Robin Richter, 9.5 for her floor. So somebody comes in with a really good one, Monica. They can overtake that.
Lorna, British floor champion, but unfortunately not in a position to overtake that, especially there, falling out on that double back.
Finish on a high note. Double twister there, landed well. Well, good finish, but I'm afraid Lorna's competition slipping away. David Cox hanging in there, though. 9.5 for his high bar. And as the competitors move on to their last rotation, we'll take another break, but we'll be back in a couple of minutes for what should be an exciting finale. Don't miss it.
And we're building up to the climax of this last major tournament of 1988, and there is the position with the women's section, with Polakova out there in front from Czechoslovakia. Lisa Grayson in 6th place. You'll notice she was 2nd here last year. She's got an awful lot to do to get into a medal position, with one exercise remaining, the floor exercise. Let's have a look at the men, shall we? And it's the Russians in pole position. Gennady Zadorozhny. He's finished. Fang Min needs 8.75, in fact, in his last apparatus, which is the high bar, to get the gold medal. David Cox and James May, the two Britons there, in 3rd and 4th place. That's very close as well. Look, they're dead even, in fact. And here we go with the 7th and final round, or rotation. Let's go back to our commentators.
Well, I'm sure the observant amongst you will notice that Fang Min, in fact, needs 9.85 to win the competition. But this is Mark Warburton from the USA, who stands no chance at all. He's down in 9th position. So a very disappointing competition, really. Hesitation there, but he got out of it and went into the endo circle. Ginga somersault. Again, that peculiar halt.
It must be quite different for the gymnasts, John. They are used to working on a podium, and the audience is in actual fact at their level. And for the majority of the gymnasts, this is strange.
Especially the Americans. And his coach rushing in there. In the end, it wasn't necessary, but the coach is always aware. Forget the score. If there's a question of safety involved, get in there and save the gymnast.
Senator number 10 from USSR, Oksana Emelianchik.
And Oksana Emelianchik, a real favourite in this country. She had a disastrous start, only 8.95, sat down on both vaults, but then she picked up, she scored 9.6 on asymmetric bars and a magnificent 9.8 on beam. And who knows, she could get a high score on floor and get into the medals yet.
If it was anybody else, I'd say that there was too much to do, but she is the former floor world champion, and she is absolutely brilliant. Free twists there.
Well, she was 15 when she took the world title along with Shushinova in '85 in Montreal. Now she's 18, but she hasn't lost any of that old magic. Just take a second look at some of this.
This the middle tumble run, and she pioneered this. All the top girls in the world now working across one diagonal and going straight into another tumbling run back the other way. But it was Emelianchik who really started all that off.
And for me, nobody can do it with quite the charisma that she did in the first instance.
Csaba Hegyes from Hungary to the high bar, down in 8th position. Failed like so many on the pommel horse, but a surprise perhaps that it was a Hungarian who failed on the pommel horse, because they really have been the masters over the last 3 decades on that piece of apparatus. But this is the piece of apparatus when in 1985 he won the Junior European Championship. So expect fireworks. Oh, beautiful. One-arm Ginga somersault to a one-arm catch as well. So wonder his arm didn't come out of his shoulder socket.
I think it was a different release. It was right arm release and left arm catch. Really versatile stuff. And what a landed triple back. Beautiful.
Well, you see a lot of people going for the triple now, as I said earlier, but that's how to do it. Lots of spare there. Chance to see it again as he builds up to it. It really is a move that you wind up for. Look at the height above the bar. You've got to get the 3 somersaults almost completed above the bar. 9.8's just gone up for Emelianchik on the floor. And that could be good enough. We've got to do the calculations. But here, the competition leader, Iveta Polakova from Czechoslovakia. Look at those marks. Monica said earlier that this girl looked a winner from the moment she arrived here at Wembley, and I've got to agree, she looks in superb form. A heel out there.
Yes, the tense. Polakova really has been travelling all over the world in the past few months. On the very last tumble, sitting down out of the Floria on the double back, and what a disaster.
Well, she recovers her composure and a lovely smile. It was so good to see her enjoying her gymnastics so much. But now the reality. What a mistake, she says. That competition was mine in the bag.
9.55.
And now I've got to sit there and wait.
Next to go from the People's Republic of China is number 18, Fang Min.
From one drama to another, Fang Min, the only man who has a chance of overtaking Gennady Zadorozhny from the Soviet Union, but he needs 9.85. We haven't seen him in Britain before, and he was injured at the Olympics, so we don't really know what he's like, but it's a tall order for anyone.
It is, and totally out of the question now. Right off, back straddled to land it on the floor, and so no chance of taking home that treasured prize.
And the gymnast so aware of what's going on, I'm sure he was doing his own calculations, and you wonder whether he thinks I've got to perform absolutely at the top of my ability, and that weighed perhaps a little bit too much on his mind, and he froze on the apparatus. One arm Ginga somersault.
And news that Emelianchik with that 9.8 only came fourth, didn't manage to squeeze into the medals.
Well, really, Fang Min there summing up the difference between the Chinese and the USSR in top competition. When it comes to the big moment, the Russians are always the people who go through their routines as if it's in practice, and the Chinese always prone to mistakes. Brilliant, but brittle.
And Lisa Grayson, ready for her floor routine. That disaster, her costly disaster on beam. So unusual to see Lisa fall from the apparatus. Lost 5/10 on her straight back. Went home with silver medal last year in this same event. But she'll really have to go some to even get into the medals this year. international coach Colin still just in the picture with his eagle eye on Lisa, almost threatening her not to make any more mistakes. Lisa really going for it. She opened up with a pull-in back out, throwing a lovely high double back into the middle. So she's really going out fighting. Lovely musical interpretation and a very well balanced routine between the tumbles and the different tempos. Final, all important tumble coming up.
Well, a good finish there for Lisa Grayson, but what drama in this final round of the competition. The women's leaderboard turned absolutely upside down because Iveta Polokova scored only 8.85 for that floor exercise, and that's dropped her not just from the gold but right out of the medals. So Omilenchik squeezes up into third place at the moment. And it's Robin Richter from the USA who's in the gold medal position.
Bulgaria's Marian Penev. His last piece had some very good scores other than the disappointing opening on floor. At 22. Still on the outside of the Bulgarian national team and fighting to get into the top six. Costly error there in that pike.
Yes, his all-round competition let him down a bit. There's another triple, but he overdid it, landed backwards. An apparatus, individual apparatus specialist. This chap, we'll see him in the finals tomorrow, no doubt. And in time to see James May. James May, everything to go for. 9.55 he needs to take the bronze medal and overtake David Cox. So two huge incentives, Monica.
Yes, it's a shame that almost one British boy is knocking the other one out. Two catches, difficult links. James not quite the stylist that David is, but a piked Kachev over the bar there.
Three good release and catches. I think that's all we'll see till the dismount. Here it comes. Double twisting, double back. And he landed it. Well, what do you think?
Well, he's a boy. He's only ever done that twice and to a pitted landing, so he really deserves to get into the medals. He had to use a lot of bottle to put a big dismount on the end of that routine.
Here the build-up. Always the testing time to put a new move in. There it is. In fact, quite well landed. It looks a bit untidy, the double twisting in the puck position, but a good landing. Now we've just got to wait and see what the judges are going to give him. Remember, 9.55 he needs to overtake David Cox and take the bronze medal.
Right, let's put you right on the spot, Suzanne. Do you think James May got 9.55 there, which would have given him the bronze ahead of David Cox?
I'm keeping my fingers crossed, but he did do a very good routine. The only criticism is his feet. His little feet were doing that at the end, but he pulled out a good routine there. So
he lost control of the feet, had he?
Yeah, the little feet sort of waved a little bit, but no, he had a good routine, so let's hope that he gets the 9.55.
Well, we know who's won the gold medal, Zadorozhny,
yes.
Only 19 from the USSR, and he's tipped as a future world champion, but I guess there's always someone tipping a Russian to be a future world champion. Is there much basis in that?
Well, it's very hard not to tip the Russians these days. They seem to be dominating the top spots all the time. But mind you, Fang Min gave him a real good run for his money because it was very close at the end. Fang Min could have, if he got 9.85, he would have taken the gold medal. But as this competition has shown us, we've seen some quite big bad mistakes on the last pieces. So again, a very outstanding Russian gymnast here today.
Yes, that was a bit of pressure there for Fang Min, a bit too much in the end, because that would have been the highest score of the whole competition. There we are then, confirmation of the women's result, and the gold medal to the American Robin Richter, who actually finished only 14th overall in the US Olympic trials, didn't she?
She did, yeah.
And there's Gergana Peeva from Bulgaria in third place, and Oksana Emelianchik, the Russian who looked out of it, but because of those mistakes by Polakova, gets the bronze medal. Polakova disappears in fourth place. Bit of a surprise, that, because she looked very good, didn't she?
I thought she was literally had no problems then. It just goes to show you that with the competition being so close at the top right to the end, that you can't afford to make one small mistake. And I'm surprised she dropped so much, but that proves how close it was.
Yeah, Lisa Grayson unfortunately drops to fifth place there. She was second here last year, but never mind, a lot of potential there. Here are the men then. Gennady Zadorozhny, as we said, getting the gold medal, only 19, and no doubt very bright future for him, maybe next year. And look at James May and David Cox, the two Brit there. James May did in fact get the 9.55. You had your fingers crossed for him. So he takes that bronze medal by, what, 0.05 of a mark from David Cox, who did tremendously well.
Well, the medal ceremony is still to come in this Kraft International. But what a competition it has been. Drama there all through the last round. We had a little twist at the end of the men's and the women's competition. Tremendous effort by James May, just getting that 9.55 that he needed to overtake David Cox. But a tremendous effort too for David Cox, because that by far the biggest competition he's ever taken part in. And for him to come fourth in that, a tremendous credit, and he now knows that he can produce the goods. There he is, in the sort of big situation that he needs to. Some gymnasts, brilliant in practice, not so good in competition. But David Cox now knows that he's got what it takes to perform on the big occasion.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there are the gymnasts, and we now have the winners of the 1988 BAGA Centenary Year Kraft International. And they are, for women, with a score of 38.25, from the United States of America, Robin Richter.
So Robin Richter from the USA, a tremendous comeback by her. She was very, very disappointed not to make the USA Olympic team, but she was determined that she wasn't finished, and now she's proved it, winning a big invitation international like this. Gold medal for her. And Gennady Zadorozhny from the USSR.
From Bulgaria.
From us, goodbye for now.